body. "I could sit here and watch this view all day." Jeff lifted from the chair and swam toward me. "Yeah, well, we don't have time for that. Come on." I swam over a broken glass coffee table, toppled champagne bottles and shattered crystal flutes toward a doorway at the opposite end of the viewing lounge. Since the yacht sank, the Coast Guard had an exclusion zone around the site and had been monitoring the area for boats. The good news about the yacht's final resting place was that its depth ensured most divers didn't have the qualifications to explore the luxury wreck. Although, if scavengers wanted a piece from inside Chu's yacht, they would have found a way to get down here. Especially as, in the aftermath of the yacht sinking, dozens of young women seeking their 15 seconds of fame emerged with stories of wild parties amidst the gaudy opulence. Hardly any photos hit the news reports, though, and none were taken from inside the vessel. We'd learned about Chu's strict no phones allowed on board policy from Yasmin's father when he told Yasmin about his connection to Chu. So it made sense that there were no photos. From the viewing lounge, I swam past a 10-seater movie theatre and into the main entertainment area. As I paused to take in the contrasting spectacle of a school of palm-sized blackfish swimming over the immense white leather sofa, Jeff aimed for the bar. Many bottles had toppled over and smashed onto the floor, yet just as many had remained on the custom-built shelving, which would have been designed to withstand rough ocean conditions. Jeff plucked a bottle from the top shelf and held it like he was holding a hard-fought winner's trophy. "Holy hell, Aria, this collection of alcohol alone is worth a fortune." Jeff was 6'6", built like a footballer, and he prided himself on being a man's man, yet his excited tone was like a giddy teenager in an ice cream shop. "Take it," I said. "Nobody will notice." His eyes bulged in his mask. "You serious?" "Sure. If you can get it to your gear on the patrol boat without anyone seeing it, it's all yours." "You do know it's Glenfiddich Grand Cru 40-year-old Scotch whiskey, right?" He turned the label around to show me. "It's worth at least $2,000. You want it or not?" "Hell yeah," he whistled. "Thanks, Aria. You're my kind of boss." Jeff unzipped his wetsuit, and while wrestling with his disrupted buoyancy, he shoved the bottle next to his stomach. I chuckled at his enthusiasm. Some men were so easily pleased. Others, not so much. Like my father. He raised me alone after my mother abandoned us when I was 11. Nothing I did was ever enough for him. His disappointment always simmered in his eyes, and I'd run out of ideas on how to turn that around. Even my promotion to executive assistant at ASIO didn't impress him. If anything, it seemed to piss him off more. When our disastrous mission in Kyrgyzstan resulted in all my teammates being discharged from the army, Dad had saved my career. Since then, it didn't matter how much I worked my ass off to prove I was worthy of my security status. I would forever be discriminated against because of Dad's help. And that pissed me off as much as my failure to arrest Chu before the bastard drowned. I swam to a mahogany bookshelf built into a corner of a large room with plush lounges and glass-topped side tables that had all smashed. Nearly everything that had been on the shelving had toppled onto the floor. I doubted that any books on these shelves held private information on Chu, yet I couldn't resist checking anyway. I pulled out a book with a hard green cover that looked like it was covered in mould. It wouldn't be, not yet anyway. The book was titled Dubliners by James Joyce. I turned over the hardcover to the title page, where the handwriting was just beginning to blur from the water. It was signed, "With the writer's compliments, James Joyce, Trieste, 23 June 1914. The book was probably a first edition and priceless. Not anymore, though. I returned it to the shelf. Everything on this yacht was likely purchased with funds from illegal transactions. If it wasn't sitting on the bottom of the ocean and destined to remain that way for an eternity, the insurance company would have recovered the vessel and sold anything they could salvage. But by the time the investigation into the yacht's demise and Chu's extensive criminal activities were completed, the luxury yacht and all its plush furnishings would probably have coral growing on every surface.